This one is going to be titled something like accountability, self-responsibility. From Og's latest talk, this was, from my perspective, the most important part. And in your life, it's the most important part. Responsibility. It's either responsibility, you take responsibility for everything that's happening to you and around you that affects you, mentally, physically, emotionally, all aspects. Or you project blame. You do one or the other. So if you're ready to take responsibility for your own life, it doesn't mean you need to go managing everybody else's life, although you are connected and interrelated with them. It means you take full responsibility for your exact manifest life as it is right now. And of course it's not perfect, and of course there are problems. And we've been evading these problems. We've been evading self-responsibility for this whole entire time that we've been here. Because there are so many scapegoats out there to receive our projection. So many. There's billions, millions. And in fact, that method is actually encouraged because misery loves company. So if you go ahead and say government this, government that, healthcare this, healthcare that, mom and dad, their fault for birthing me in the first place, grandpa's fault for having my parents, grandma's fault, it's the devil's fault. He's being bad. He's being bad, and he's making me do the same thing. It's God's fault for not doing enough. God could fix all this in 1 second if he wanted to, but he's not doing it, so it's his fault. It's the education system's fault because they got me in debt, and now I don't have any time to do introspection because I have to spend all of my time earning money. It's money's fault for enslaving all of us. It's Big Pharma's fault. They're putting poison in us. It's GMO's fault. It's HARP's fault for fucking with the weather. It's Ford's fault for still using petroleum even though there's plenty of free energy. It's the aliens' fault. It's the aliens' fault because they see what kind of dumbasses we are and they don't want to come talk to us because they could come help. It's their fault. They see how selfish we are. They see how little regard we have for the environment. It's hate's fault. The fact that hate is around makes us pissed off at everything. That's why we hate the environment. Because of hate itself. It's hate's fault. It's the time-space continuum's fault for sticking me here. If these constraints weren't here, I'd just be floating around like a butterfly or something. Just bouncing off of clouds. tree's fault for not producing enough oxygen. It's sugar's fault for being too tasty. I can't stop eating it. It's alcohol's fault. Because alcohol makes me feel good, but it also poisons my liver. But I can't stop drinking it. So it's alcohol's fault. It's the church's fault. It's the church's fault because they promise salvation, but they never give it. The number of things that you can blame are endless. It's the sign, it's the traffic controller's fault for making me turn to the left when I maybe didn't want to turn to the left right here. It's his fault. Now my whole life has changed because now I'm going up the hill instead of down the hill. I will never ever be the same. It's the stop sign's fault for making me stop all the time, fucker. It's the advertiser's fault for making us buy all kinds of shit we don't need and polluting the environment. It's music's fault. It's the music industry's fault. They're putting all kinds of notions in our young ones' minds. It's ego's fault. Everyone around here is a fucking egomaniac. All I care about is themselves. They don't give two shits about me. It's ego's fault. Everyone else has too big of an ego, but not me. Mine's appropriate. It's Uber's fault for not giving me enough rides. It's Uber's fault for not paying me enough. Me having to sit on my ass for 12 hours a day for 5 days a week, that's Uber's fault, not mine. I had no hand in it. It's my damn beard's fault for growing all the time. What if I don't want to fucking buzz that shit every day? It's the bladder's fault for always needing to pee all the time. 2 minutes after I drink some water. And thusly making me feel unhappy and then not able to reach any of my goals. Or not able to take care of myself. It's the bladder's fault. It's chili's fault for upsetting my stomach. Not mine though. It's not my fault. None of these things around here are my fault. Everybody else is doing it. I gotta do it too. People don't like people. People don't like it when people do things differently. My friends don't like it when I try to be creative. They don't accept any of my work. It's their fault. They're making me be boring and mundane. They're making me stay on this same stupid track I've been on for 10 years. Or you could not do that. You could take responsibility for the aspects of your life, take care of the body, take care of the mind, More importantly, take care of relationships, personal relationships, and enjoy the challenge, because it's going to be a challenge whether you take responsibility or not. In fact, when you start taking responsibility, it's going to be more of a challenge. It will be more of a challenge when you start taking responsibility for your own life. Because once you start going down that path, inevitably you come to the place where you can't blame anything else. You can't blame any other people. You can't blame institutions. You can't blame the church. You can't blame God. Can't blame the devil. Can't blame Mother Mary. Can't blame Jesus. And a funny thing happens when you start taking responsibility and stop projecting your blame everywhere. All these things that you formerly hated or were blaming for everything, they actually can help you. The church can help you. As odd as that sounds, it's possible. The government can help you. As odd as that sounds, it's possible. And at that point, you have the choice whether to look into any of those things for help or guidance or not. Rather than saying, oh, all these things, they're doing all this to me. I can't do anything about it. That's all. Bye-bye.